Everything. And that's what worries me. I want you to give him a chance. Sometimes the first impression isn't the best impression because it's really...
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. Little Black Book, you know what time it is. Talk to you guys about Married at First Sight. We're dealing with Stacy and dealing also with her partner Nate. But we're going to focus on Stacy on this particular video. Talking about the fact that Stacy's I am particular about the kind of men that I date is really a defense mechanism. Well, if you want to find out what that defense mechanism is, a little bit more about that, then make sure you stick with this particular video. For those of you who are new to the channel, like it, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of the uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Stay hydrated because the streets out there, they are hot. Let's get into the video. Let's not waste much time. Let's listen a bit more and we'll jump in.
Superficial.
Well, I don't know anything about him.
Right. So I want you to get to know this person.
So obviously with Stacy, she's a very particular person. We know that, she was, a young individual person who had a very headstrong mindset. She emancipated from her parents at a young age. And, she discovered herself and went to support herself in support herself going through education, supported herself in her business. She's pretty much what you call self-made. And, that has built up a very headstrong, independent individual person as well, where she does what she needs to do and get it sorted. Now, we heard her on the last episode kind of talk about how, she's going to do what she needs to do, basically to get the relationship over the line if it comes down to that. And that's somebody who is, what is interesting about very independent people? I'm one of those. We fail to trust others because we fail to trust because we've been failed, or we're scared of our expectations being let down by others, so we do it ourselves. We're scared that if we give it to other people, we'll be disappointed like we were when we were children, and thus we become very independent. We self-regulate, we self-discipline, we self-actualize, actualize is not the right word, but we deal with everything with self. And it's because we don't trust others can do the same thing we could do, or we're fearful of being rejected, hurt, or disappointed. And to avoid those feelings, we become hyper-independent, okay? Now, what's really interesting with Stacia is the fact that she said that she's particular about her partners, but then her friend jumped in a little bit later on saying how, solid and, lack of flexibility when it comes to compromise. Let's listen a bit more and we'll see.
And don't let your fears stop you.
I need to know what is his expectation of a wife, because what I think is a wife might be different than what...
Actually, I just realized it's a little bit later on that it happened, so I'll let the video clip play. We don't want a copyright situation. So, the friend actually jumps in and says, look, you know what? You yourself, I feel like, you're a person who, when you get into situations, you can be very... independent. You don't want to compromise per se. You struggle with the no word. You tell people no, and because your boundaries are so strong, and the boundaries are so strong because, like I said, if you've had to do it all by yourself, I did it my way. Like if you also have to do it your way, and if you always had to hold your own back, and again, it's not necessarily the parents per se fault, but they obviously part of it is their upbringing, but it's her nature as well. Then what happens is you begin to accumulate a lot of what we call masculine energy, and the masculine energy is really concerned with provision, protection, and being a priest over your home, and being priestly, serving. And so what you'll realize is the protection piece is now becoming internal rather than external protection or emotional protection. It becomes internal for a lot of women, and they begin to protect themselves. Hence why men will say they got a guard up, or you come off aggressive, or you're behaving like a dude. And the reason being is because that energy is what we normally associate with dudes, right? That protection piece. And so because she's so protective without the receptiveness, it can come off that way. Now, in regards to her lack of compromise, let's watch the video. Hopefully we can get it as well.
Compromise that, because you like to say no, and you're like, I said no, you're crossing my boundary.
Well, I have to make it clear what is a real boundary. I don't feel like
Pause. Now, the fact that friend is mentioning this means that she does this in relationships, either with them or in actual romantic relationships. If the friend is mentioning it, it means it comes up. It does happen quite a bit, enough for them to witness and say this. They're saying, well, basically, she's saying, you know, you do be saying no to a lot of things. And she's about to say, no, I don't think I do. No, you do. You say no to a lot of things because it said it's going to affect my boundaries, right? That is somebody who is, I wouldn't say unwilling to change, but struggles to deal with change if it affects what they feel is their personal space, their idea of where they're going. And what it really is I don't like control. And let's be honest, I personally too don't. I'm triggered by control. So any aspect of it feeling like control, it will be a problem for me, which is why probably I work for myself in a sense, and you know why I like it. It's because whenever I feel like you're trying to control me, micromanage or anything like that, I get angst, and I immediately want to get out underneath. I want to get out. I can't take it, and I think she might have something very similar in the sense of if you put anything on her that she hasn't accepted, it's going to easily become a trigger point for her, and no's going to come out. All right, let's listen a bit more.
I always say no, though. Oh, okay.
It's the day, player.
You notice how she joked around and said, "Oh, do I always say no? Do I say no?" Like she didn't realize that she says no, right? It's funny, like, and so now what I would say is that when I said about self-defense mechanism, what I mean by that is sometimes what we can do is can be very particular in people because one, we don't want to be controlled again, but two, also as well, it's actually you trying to stop rejection and hurt and pain. You're trying to get ahead of the danger, so you become so particular, all right, about the kind of people that you allow in, which is partly fair because you want to regulate the space that you're in. You want to make sure that you don't get hurt again. But also it becomes an over-regulation where you're almost finicky and nitpicky about situations or people because you are so used to controlling every narrative and every piece, every factor in an equation. And because you do that, because that gives you a sense of power, because that stops then, if you have that sense of power, it means you can be in control of what happens, and therefore you can minimize or mitigate even the feelings, or mitigate the ability for someone to hurt you, right? And that comes with hyper independence, when you're so independent that now you control others, things around you all the time, so that you can mitigate the pain you're about to feel, or so you feel you think you're going to feel. That's what we mean by the self-defense mechanism. She jumps in ahead of the situation. So the inflexibility and the no really is about making sure that I don't get hurt. I don't want to feel pain or disappointment. I don't want to feel rejection either. It's a lot, man, and I get it. It makes sense. It makes sense as well for Stacia. But if you're somebody who's very particular and very picky and choosy, more than likely you've got some fear and pain there, and that's okay. We're all human beings. But just look deeper into why you're so finicky and why so picky and so choosy. I'm not talking about a little bit of choosiness. I'm talking about very finicky. If you're very finicky, the wazoo, zoo in your, you remember in your mind, I said about this, the wazoo, zoo. It sounds normal to you, but I'm hearing wazoo, zoo, meaning there's some dysfunction there, okay? And so you got to look deeper into why that is the case. And I think with Stacia, whatever happened in her childhood that made her want to be so independent that I know her parents were going in a different location, that she pretty much divorced her parents and became this independent woman. What it does say is she's willing to be very independent. And that in a relationship can be very scary for the other partner. Can she be interdependent? That's a key question we have to ask. Let me know your thoughts down below. What do you guys think about the breakdown? Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think? Are you hearing the whoosh, choo, 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 choo? That's my new thing from now on. Anyway, listen, like, share, subscribe. Click on the bell button for notification of uploads. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked, stay loaded.